today we're in the workshop working on the AJS again. This is the third episode in the little build series on the bike I'm doing, of us turning it into a race bike. So today we're just going to be trying to tick a few bits off the list, get the frame pretty much ready so that when the engine and gearbox comes back we can focus on getting that back in, getting it running, rather than messing about with the frame type thing, getting it looking right. So yeah, what's on the agenda? We're gonna start with the number board on the front. So we've sort of run out of time on the last episode, so we're gonna do that today. Make the number board up, prep it, paint it. Then we're gonna move on to the forks. So a little bit of wear on the forks, nothing major, but whilst we've got the bike in bits, we're gonna sand them and repaint them so they look nice, and the number board can go back on, front wheel can be tightened up, and the front end then ain't got to be touched. Then we're going to remove the speedo drive. So as we mentioned before, whip that out, see what's involved with that, replace it with a spacer hopefully, so the back wheel's then ready. Once we get the engine and gearbox back, that can be bolted back on, tightened back up, done. And then I've ordered a passenger pad for the rear, like I was thinking about doing. We've got one of them on the way, so we're going to be fitting that, making sure it looks as I hope. And then depending on how we get on with all that lot, we'll start on the engine plate, so remaking the engine mounts out of alley. I've got a few new parts to run through with you, so I'll run you through what we've got. And then lastly, we'll just hopefully have some updates from Neil on how the engine's going. Just keep you up to date with progress on that. So yeah, let's get cracking. Alright, so we're at the bench. I'm going to start making the number plate. Not sure how good the view is going to be from up there, but that's what we got for the minute. Hopefully you'll see what's going on. So I've already made a cardboard template of the size, just to mainly save a little bit of running backwards and forwards to the bike, wasting time on the video type thing. So made a template, happy with the shape. I'll show you, I'll just rerun through basically how I made it, show you what I'm doing. We'll cut it out and then see how it looks. So I've got a few measurements written down just at the side. So I've decided on 180mm wide for the width. So hopefully this little bit of alley square. So we'll mark that 180 wide there. Been looking at all different sorts of bikes on Instagram, just trying to get a bit of inspiration on the nicest type of number plate for it. Went to Race a Gentleman in 2018. I think that's probably where it sort of started me wanting a race bike at some point. And again, I was looking for all my pictures, just trying to sort of tee up what the best size plate would be, and suit the bike type thing. So we're 180 wide on that. We've gone 205 tall. So quite slim, not very big. 205. 205. So just mark the outline. So that's the size of it. And then, so what I did with for the holes, I measured centre to centre on the studs on the bike, which come out at 138. So we're 138 centre to centre on the studs. I then measured how far up I want this board to sit and how much overhang. So I'd gone 25mm on the overhang at the bottom. So we'll mark 25mm. Like that. And then we draw our line across, which will give us the height for the stud holes. And then the next bit, so this is how I do it, there might be a better way of doing it, but so I mark on here the centre of the actual board. So we're 180 wide, so we'll be 90 to the centre. So we'll mark that. that. Give us our centre line. Pens on and out. So we've got centre line like that, and then I'll do the 138 for the studs, so the distance between the two studs, divide that by 2, and then you've got your nice even where you want your stud holes, so 69 each side, that there. And there. So I've got our stud holes now, hopefully in the same place. We're trying to drill them nice and even. Then I'll use a circle, so something like this. Mark the corners in. Maybe that might be a bit too big, to be fair. I don't know whether we want it that curved, or should we try it? So I ain't going for nothing fancy with this, just literally rectangular, round the corners off, nice. Maybe. We're liking that. I'm just doing it so that it just meets the straight on the edge of the curve. So something like that. That's roughly where we're at. I ain't really happy with that one. Something like that we're going to go with. So I'm going to drill the holes, cut it out, and then we'll stick it on the bike, have a look, see how it looks. If we're happy, we'll then start prepping it for paint. Alright, so next bit, we're going to centre punch the holes, drill the holes, cut it out. Start with a slightly smaller bit, but it shouldn't be, being alley, it shouldn't be too much ag to drill. Good. Just going to check it on the bike quick, just to make sure that they're in the right place. Width straight. So we'll start cutting. I'm going to put it on the bench. I know I'll probably cut into the bench top, but it's only, we must make these out of an off cut and just change them all the time, but it's just the easiest way to keep it straight. Goggles out. maybe. That's the basic shape cut out. We'll change to a flat disc and just try and make them curves a bit nicer. Again, there's probably a nicer way of doing this, but I'm just sort of working with what I've got. I mean, it looks quite alrighty. I'm going to hit it with a file now and just try and take off any. Alright, so I've got the number plate made up. Cut it out, as you see. Ground the edges down with a flat disc to try and get as an even a curve as possible. There's a bit of glue on the corners there, that's what that look a bit square, but I might carry on going with the sandpaper. But I'm really happy with the size. I think it looks about right on the front there. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So what we'll do, we'll get to prepping it now for some primer. Alright, we're just in the booth now. This ain't my spray booth, this is my mate's. He's just nice enough to let us use it. So we're gonna do the gloss black on the front of the number board and lacquer it. So I'll just show you where we're at with that. Right, we're in the workshop again. It's been a few days now since we painted this. I've just wet sanded it and polished it, and this is the finished result. I ain't gone too mad with it, but it's pretty smooth. But yeah, so really happy with that. And the main reason for doing this with a number board is because I found a pinstriper, a sign writer, who's local to here. Seems to do really nice work, like all traditional, nice painted stuff. So I'm about to drop it off to him, and he's gonna do the numbers for us. So I was in two minds about whether to go that way or try and do it myself, but he does really nice work, and hopefully it'll add to the finished look of the bike. So got the front wheel back off the bike, tank off the bike, and we've propped it up on these couple of bits of sleeper just to stable them a little bit whilst we sand them. So I'll just show you the marks that I was telling you about. So that's nothing major, just where the shrouds have gone up and down and the mudguard was on, and they've rubbed through to the primer. So a little bit there, a few up the top here. Nothing major, but we'll give them a little sand back and just hit them with a bit of aerosol black, which is pretty much, I think it's exactly what I used on them before. So should be good. Look nice once the number board's back on. Alright, so bear with us on the camera situation again. I'm not sure how good it's going to look from up there, but hopefully you'll get a good idea of what I'm doing. So I'm going to paint from this top yoke down. I'll tape off that chrome bit and paint down. So I'm just going to give it a little sand up. I'm using 400 grit at the minute. So we'll see how, if that smooths out nice, I'll go straight over that. But if you can see some sanding marks in it, I'll go 800, but 400 probably be fine. So we're just going to give them a sand back. Probably you'll notice there's quite a bit of paint off them now, and I stopped the video in because this is escalated, and I just thought I wanted to turn into an absolute episode of just sanding these, but yeah, it turns out the paint on them ain't that good. It's just sort of flaking off all over the show. So, and I ain't really keen on painting over rubbish paint. I just think it'll annoy me. I'll see it, even aerosol, I just think I'll see it through it, it will look pony. So we've sort of ended up cracking on with these, trying to just get as much of it off as possible, so they're good to go over the top of. Alright, so we've got the bike outside the workshop now. This fork situation's turned into a bit of a nightmare. So it's just sort of escalated to the point where I've ended up taking all that old flaky aerosol paint off. Just weren't going to cover nice. I just think if I'm going to do it, what I probably should have done is just took the forks off altogether, but I had them off when I initially bought the bike, redone the bearings, little ball bearings, re-greased them and that, put it back together, and it's just a bit of a pain to get back together. So I thought if I can leave it this time and just save a bit of time, but at some point it'll probably come back off again. So yeah, we're outside. I ain't rattle canning it again. I've got this paint called Chromadex, which is like satin black. It's almost like an undercoat, but it's a real nice smooth finish. You can use it as a top coat or a primer, so it'll be good to go over if I ever want to gloss black them at some point. But yeah, so we're outside, we're going to start that. And just thin it down until you can get it through your gun. Now I only use just an old gun for this. It's only like a 1.2, I think. It might even be that. So I thin it right down, but it comes out nice. Even thin it covers good. Alright, that's 2 coats done. We're just going to do the third one now. Hopefully that'll be it. It's not reacting. It seems to be drying really quick, so yeah, happy with that. Worth the extra rag. So back inside now, forks are done. Give them a couple of hours to dry. Just thought I'd show you the finished result before I put the front wheel back on. So yeah, it's come out real nice. No reactions or anything. Cover's good. So yeah, it's as I was saying about the paint, it's Chromadex anti-corrosive paint. So you can go straight to metal, which is what we've done on the lowers. Covered good. None of that flakiness underneath it. Yeah, really happy with that. Right, so we've got the front end back together. Next up, we're going to remove the speedo drive from the back wheel. Yeah, so I'll show you what we're talking about. So this bit here is your speedo drive. We ain't going to be running a speedo, so we're going to lose that. I've ordered a spacer, which I'm hoping is going to fit. So we'll start with getting the back wheel off and go from there. Alright, so we're over at the bench now. I'm going to just show you how the spindle brake assembly on the rear comes apart, and then show you what I mean by I've taken the speedo drive out and replace it with a spacer. So on the brake side, obviously your nut, little spacer which locks it into the frame of the bike, so it's got the flat on it like that, and that just holds in your brake assembly type thing. Did do the pads on it, front and back, shoes, sorry, front and back, a couple of years ago, so they're still good. And then in here, you've got spacer, and then your one that goes through 2 spacers, I think, which we won't touch. Spin it around the other side. Like that, so it don't fall out, and then same again, obviously the lock it wheel nut. We'll take that off actually, because we've got to take the axle out, but as long as we just remember where that went. The centre one stays in. It's got a circlip on this side, so I've just took that out, slid the axle out, and then what you've got is, however you can see, so this space seems to be threaded on here, so we'll leave that as it is. Then your speedo drive comes off like that, and it's got a little spacer inside, so we're going to replace that and that with one spacer, hopefully, if it fits. So I'll grab that out. I'm going to make, for the beach racing, I'm going to make some sort of dust cover for this, so it's not exposed like that for the sand, so some sort of rubber cap that fits on there but clears your axle. So we'll get the space up. Yeah, so we've got the spindle back in, and I'll show you. So that side's as it was, and then this side, so the spacer fits nice, but unfortunately the outside diameter is slightly different, which looks a bit odd, but it fits the sleeve, it fits the axle lovely, it's the right length, and they're quite tricky to get hold of in exactly the right size. I think this axle is 7/16, so there's loads of metric stuff available, but not a lot of imperial. So that's what we got for now. It works, it's good, it'll do the job. As I said, I'll get a little dust cap for this, a little rubber cap or something to go over there for the beach racing, but should be fine for MPH because that's just on tarmac. So yeah, we'll get the wheel back on the bike. Right, so we're at the bench now. I'm just going to run you through some parts that we got for the bike. Sorry about the roof, it makes a little bit of noise when it's warm outside, but hopefully you can hear what I'm saying. We have got mics, next video we'll have them. Right, so first bit's the carb. Now I've got the old one here as well, so I'm just going to run you through some of the differences between the old and the new, and why we've gone for what we've gone for. So this is the old one, it's an Amel, and it's a 2.7, it's always stamped on here, so it's a 2.75, and this is what's called a pre-monoblock carb. So basically what that means is your float bowl is separate to the body of the carb, so you can undo that nut at the bottom there, float bowl comes off, whereas our new carb is monoblock, so that's like an all-in-one, so your float bowl's part of the carb. And this one's got a brass float in it, this one will have a plastic. Now we ain't going to take them apart today, but at some point I'll have this apart because I'll probably be changing the jets, so I'll show you that at the time. Tickler on the top there on the float bowl just primes the carb. On the back, so the stud dimensions are exactly the same, which is handy because you can bolt it straight back on the bike. But the main difference probably between the two is the bore of the throat here. So this one, I don't know how good this will be upside down or not, but so this one's about 24mm, which is 7/8 of an inch, whereas the new one is 1 1/16 inch, so about 28mm. And the reason I picked that is because the competition models of my bike, like the Scrambler model back in the day, would have had that 1 1/16 carb, along with the same cams I've got for it and high compression piston, so hopefully it'll be quite well matched for the bike. So that's the old one. The new one, a little unboxing video, trumpet that comes with it, some instructions, hopefully they'll be handy when tuning it. And then we got the carb. So this is what's called a Mark 1 concentric. So it's an AML as well. And then the reason for doing that is hopefully it will look quite period correct on the bike. Same brand as what it would have had. Hopefully it will look right, but we get the right reliability of a new carb type thing. So this one is a 928, so it's a 900 series, 28mm on the bore. So yeah, 28mm, inch and 1/16, so substantially bigger than that. Hopefully it'll make a difference. Float bar on the bottom there, which makes it that monoblock. And then we've got a dual fuel inlet. So the reason for that is the bike's got 2 fuel taps. So I'm going to run rubber. I bought like little spigot bit, so you can run rubber from the tank and rubber quarter inch lines to this. So yeah, new carb. You got choke and throttle at the top. Probably not good. Well, definitely not going to run the choke. So I'll show you how we do that at the time. And then just lastly, I'll show you this little trumpet it comes with. Quite nice, really light, alley jobby. So this one's 20mm. I've been talking to Neil. He sent me quite an interesting document on how the length of these changes the running of the bike. So they do a 60mm. So when I order some jets from them, I'll order a 60mm one of these. This is 20mm. And then we'll just swap between the two. I'll probably get a filter as well, like a proper cone filter, just so that if we do the beach racing, or when we do the beach racing, it won't be sucking in loads of sand. So yeah, we'll do that. I'm really looking forward to getting it on the bike and seeing what it does. So I'm going to pause the video, I'll get the next bit for you. So next we've got a new exhaust for the bike. This is a high level scrambler style pipe. Now, the reason I've gone for this is because I'd seen an old poster. It was a Stevens motorcycle poster, sort of promoting their competition model. And Stevens were, I think anyway, they were, before AJS was AJS, I think they run under the name of Stevens because it was the Stevens brothers. And yeah, I'll stick the poster on the video so you can see what I'm talking about. So they were showing their competition model, and it ran this style of pipe, the passenger pad on the rear fender. So this is sort of partly the vision for my one, and hopefully it sort of looks resembles it. I mean, it won't be exactly the same because it's a much earlier bike, but hopefully it just looks tough. So yeah, this come from a company called Armour Products. Really helpful on the phone again. That like really clued up, nice to deal with. Haven't fitted it yet, obviously, so we don't know how it fits or sits, but I'm going to show you. You have to use your imagination a little bit, but I'll hold it how it's roughly supposed to go and show you how it may look. But the quality looks really nice, chrome's good, and it weren't dear. It was like 126 quid delivered or something like that, which I don't think's too bad. Got to buy some P clamps for it to mount it, but I thought I'll hold off until we've got the bike a bit more back together so we can see what we need. But yeah, so new exhaust, bear with us. I'm going to show you how it might look on the bike. Yeah, so I'm not sure how good this will work or not, but I'm hoping if I just sort of hold it roughly where it wants to sit, you'll get a good idea of how it's going to look on the bike. I mean, I know it ain't going to be exactly bang on where it needs to be, but I'm thinking it'll probably be something like that. I would have said somewhere like that, possibly that way a little bit. But yeah, so we ain't going to be running a muffler, so it'll be a straight pipe, and I'll just probably try it as it is, mount it up like this, and just see how it looks with it short. And then I think if it needs a bit of length, we'll just get a bit of sleeves over the top and run it out the rear of the bike like that. But it'll just be the sort of thing we look at the time and yeah, see what looks best. So hopefully something like that. Right, so this is the last bit I've got to show you. Thought I'd save the best till last. So I picked this up a couple of days ago and yeah, I'm well chuffed with it. It's literally exactly how I wanted it. So what we went for, this is like, I sent him a photo of a font on a bike I'd seen. We were sort of to and froing on, do we go with something a bit more fancy or something just more basic? But I think the basic works good. So it's gold leaf, 32 carat gold leaf. That's what you can see there, like the sort of tarnishing on it. And then it's got a tiny little black border on it that he's painted on. I don't know whether you can see it there, but real subtle, but just sharpens it up, makes it look real neat. But yeah, I'm well chuffed with it. And the fella that done it, his name's Linus, and I shall put his Instagram tag in the description. But yeah, it's Linus the painter. Yeah, nice and local to here. It was really easy to deal with. It's done a top job, and his pricing was pretty good as well. So yeah, definitely recommend. But what we'll do now, I shall get it on the bike and then show you how it looks. Alright, so I just pulled the bike outside. I thought sun's out, it'd be good to get a proper look at it in the daylight. And just yeah, again, just trying to have a look at how it might look when it's done. So number board's on, carefully stuck that on. And yeah, I'm over the moon with it. It's yeah, hopefully you agree, but I think it really suits the bike. The colour, the gold is actually quite close to the gold on the tank, and I'm hoping once it starts to tarnish a bit and age, it should darken up a tiny bit. So but it's pretty close. I'm really good with that. So yeah, we got forks done, all painted up. They sort of blend in with the bike, they don't look too fresh type thing. Number board on. Rear speedo drive out. Yeah, a few jobs off the list. That's where we're at the minute. Alright, that's about it for today's episode. Overshot the timing just a little bit again, so we'll make sure we get all the bits that we didn't do in this episode in the next one. I'm probably going to do it mainly on the engine build, so hopefully it'll be quite a bit different to this one. But yeah, hope you enjoyed today's. Like and subscribe if you want to follow along with the build. And yeah, thanks for watching. Cheers.